Hey guys, welcome back to the serious segment. We got an ongoing issue here, as you've probably seen in the previous video, in the previous premiere. We got some card alteration getting out of control. We've seen it in sports before. Now it's seemingly a humongous issue in the Pokemon world. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to expose every single bit of it. If you haven't watched the last video, I suggest doing that before or after this one. Link is in the description. My apologies for that one being a little bit vague and slapped together. The updates will be more structured from here on out. Make sure to reach out to me on Twitter or Discord if you have additional information. Instagram still down for the time being, so if anyone, usually I don't like to ask people to share things, but I think this might be the case where if you want to spank some bad actors in the Pokemon community, now's a good time to share stuff on Instagram, since they shut mine down. So hopefully that'll be back eventually. But if you'd like to rip on some nuts of some Scamerinos, be sure to give it a post on there. It'd be much appreciated. So first up, we have Pokegeodude. We mentioned this last time, from Germany. The former PSA middleman service. Also offered middleman services for CGC, VGA, and apparently BGS at one point in time. They were offering their Smart Fix, which is a card altering service. PSA told them to stop if they wanted to continue, and their PSA partnership ended once Ludkins became PSA UK, as far as I can tell. At that point, I guess no longer a need for a middleman company over on that side of the world. And at this point in time, it just seems like they might be still getting PSA customer submissions back. So we have Pokegeodude, who reached out to me about my last video, saying that the Smart Fix they were using originated in the USA. Don't worry, looking into the USA culprit, along with similar shady stuff going on in Italy. We'll take a look at those issues in the United States of America later in this video. Stay tuned for that. Pokegeodude says they quit offering this service. They told me that they were only there were only 126 cards that they altered and sent to grading companies, PSA, BGS, and CGC specifically. They are also receiving altered cards from their customer submissions. So, I mean, even if it wasn't them directly doing it, or they're not letting on that they were doing it, they were still submitting cards after that point that were altered either by themselves or somebody else. Apparently there were, I think it was 400 they mentioned, that were altered by them for their customers that went back to the customers. So are those customers now sending, or did they send the cards to them to get graded? Did they send them in themselves? Who knows? Clearly, the grading companies shouldn't be all right with that either, whether they're sending them directly or whether a customer has an altered card and the Pokegeodudes or whoever the middleman is knowingly submits it to PSA regardless. So when asked, they claim to not have a list of the 126 cards that they altered and sent to these grading companies, which I find very hard to believe. You have to wonder, is this just because they don't want problems with those customers coming back and being upset with them? They try to make excuses that sometimes altering the card doesn't result in a higher grade. That doesn't matter. So they don't want to, at this time, give me the full details on what they were using, which is odd if they are no longer offering the service. And they claim the Nidoking on screen here. They claim that Nidoking that was used in their advertising was not altered. And weird that they wouldn't use an actual example of an altered card that they altered themselves for their own advertising. But they claim it was just a regrade that got a 10. I still kind of find that really hard to believe. And they could just be covering for the customer who had it altered, or the current owner of the Nidoking. They don't want that to come back on them. So one or the other, either they were lying to their customer base or they're lying to me. Either way, there's a lie there. The strange part is they agree the grading is a joke, which is odd coming from a middleman grading business. You would think that they would be all about it. I told them that if they are no longer altering cards and want to clean up their name, it would be in their best interest to work with me on identifying those 126 graded altered cards and assisting with a system to identify all of the different types of alters that are hitting the market currently. So we'll have to stay tuned to see what they decide. If anyone sees or hears anything of the sort, please let me know. But they do have direct communication with me, so I would applaud them if they turn a new leaf. But only time will tell. There were definitely some compliments included, which, you know, you got to take with a grain of salt. Is that just to butter me up and then I'll go easy on them? Because that's not the case. We got to take this extremely seriously. I don't care how much you S my D, you're not getting the easy route out here. Alright, so what really worries me is that I have people reaching out saying that they only removed the Smart Fix service from their website when my last video came out. So if anyone can confirm or deny that, I'd love to hear it. Make sure you guys always take screenshots, because people like to delete things, especially when it's not in their favor. So having a record of absolutely everything is essential. So in a recent stream, we'll take a look at here, they show off 30 cards that came back from PSA as do not holder / altered. He says that PSA returned all 30 because they were vintage and might be altered. Not all of them, apparently, but some of which were actually altered. He goes on to say that all of them were graded by PSA on a second attempt. So how PSA didn't catch that second attempt? Did they submit through someone else's name? Did they submit through the same name? And the person just didn't look into the fact that these should have been flagged? Who knows? We've seen some very egregious mistakes on PSA's part with signed cards that were altered, where the signature is identical. The rest of the card is all of a sudden in better shape. It's inked, it's cut, it's trimmed, it's pressed. So these should be noticed as well. There's no reason for it. They should all be photographed. You should have the hollow pattern. You should have the account flagged. You should have the people involved, the region, whatever you need to do. If they send in these same 30 cards, especially if they were in the same submission, and you had those same 30 cards in a previous submission, there's no excuse for why these should have slipped through the second time. But yeah, well, I think more importantly here, we're gonna take a look at who's in the chat. So we have our Pokegeodudes who are claiming that this was yesterday's stream. We have the Pokegeodudes who are claiming that they're clean now. They don't alter cards. But look at that chat. Look who's in the chat there. That's our boy Retro.x. Weird. The guy that is still openly altering cards is in your chat. So you would think that if you're coming clean, you're trying to clean up your name, that you would probably want to distance yourself from your boy Retro.x here. Don't you think? All right, on to the second culprit here. We have Retro.x, who is still actively and openly altering cards. He seems to think this is funny. Maybe the only one, as I mentioned, altering cards who isn't trying to claim it's something that it's not. They'll say like, "Oh, I'm just cleaning it. I'm just rubbing scratches off magically. I'm definitely not removing or adding any material to the card," which automatically makes it altering. You can rephrase it any way you want. That's what's happening here. Whenever there's scratches and the scratches are no longer there, they're either polishing it to the point that the material surrounding the scratch itself is just as deep. So you're removing material. It's the same as sandpaper. It's just less abrasive. That's what polish does. That's how polish works. Or in some cases, there might be material added to fill in the scratch and hide the scratch, in which case also altering. The same as if you ink a card. You can't add ink to a card. You can't add material to a card. You can't remove material from a card. At that point, it is an altered card, and the value is substantially less. Should not be graded by any grading company. Absolutely not. Okay, so here he is thanking me for the advertising. But I'm here to tell you that this is not going to be funny when you and everyone associated are blacklisted by the community. I'm sorry to say it, but that's what needs to happen here. If you're going to, you're ruining the hobby for a lot of people. You're screwing a lot of people over, not only in the immediate future, but years from now, this is going to be an issue. The cards that are out there that are spread around at this point are going to harm others. So, guys, I need you to not touch anything from anyone who has anything to do with these card altering people. That's what it comes down to. If you get cards altered by them, you're going to get put on a list and you're going to have to go find another hobby. That's all it comes down to. That is the only way to stop this. That's the only way to turn this off. If there's no money in it for them anymore because everyone can't or doesn't want to risk their own reputation, because that's what they've done, regardless of anyone cracking down on this at this point. You're giving yourself a bad name by being associated with these people, by submitting to these people, by defending these people. Congratulations to everyone in the previous videos where you commented about how it's not altering, about how you're fine with it, about how you submitted cards to them. Everyone at any point that ever commented any of that stuff, congratulations. You're part of ruining the hobby. So, same goes for the grading companies. If you want to show that you have some sort of usefulness to you, you have to be banning everyone involved here. You have to be doing everything that you possibly can. I know it's going to take more than 30 seconds per card to look for these things. I know that it's going to cost a lot of money to pull back all of the stuff that was graded by these individuals, but that's what needs to happen. Otherwise, you're more pointless than I can even explain. That all the mistakes that I can highlight, everything else, this is your time to shine. This is where you make it right. This is where you get rid of the absolute trash of the hobby. This is where you get rid of Retro, the absolute clown. So again, we'll take a quick look at an example here. This is from Retro, and you can see here that the scratches are being removed. Exact process to be determined, but you're either polishing, removing the clear surface on the card, or you're filling it in to make it seem like the scratches are not there. This should all be detectable by the grading companies, probably even by the naked eye at some point. But yeah, this is the danger that we live in. How long is this going to last? And even if it does last, it's still an altered card at that point. It doesn't matter if it looks better at first glance, it's altered. Once it's altered, same with sports, once you add ink to the back of it, if you put blue Sharpie, if you put blue ink on the back of a card to remove whitening, it's altered. At that point, the value is significantly less. So doing it, selling it to other people, grading it, selling it to other people is deceitful. It's taking advantage of others. And yeah, it's just all around bad. So even if you want to use the argument that, yeah, but it just looks better, it's fine if you just remove some material, it's not fine. That's not how it works. That's not how trading cards work. That's not how sports cards work. It's altered. It's altered at that point. Value just absolutely plummets. All right, so we have AOG, who is partnered with Retro. And pretty poor decision, in my opinion. Here we have a comment that they left on the previous video. You'll notice that it's edited, so we're going to take a look at the non-edited version. I don't know what's going on with these companies that are not great at PR, deciding to post on YouTube videos to make statements on there rather than somewhere else. But that's what you get when you have this amateur nonsense going on, and you have a company that's just looking to make a buck, even if they are absolutely shafting you, the customer, or anyone that ends up with one of their slabs. Because are they going to be around? Probably not. So do they care? Also probably not. So we have Absolute Objective. Objective. Great respect for the very informative and insightful video on a topic that has divided the community into two camps for quite some time. No, it hasn't. You can't alter cards. There's no camp. There's no dividing in two. You have people taking advantage of others, and you have people that don't want cards altered. That's it. The people that are in and want this to happen are the people that are taking advantage of others, including yourself, by being associated with them. This is unacceptable for a grading company. This is unacceptable for an individual that is looking to scam other people. This is scamming in every sense, all over. I guess on different levels here, where you have the person that's doing it, the person that's grading it, and then the person that's selling it, knowingly that it's, some of which might be the same. Nevertheless, we would like to take, also, stop, can you, like, you don't sugarcoat me. I'm still going to drag the living hell out of you for scamming people, for being a shitty company, for being shitheads that shit all over all of the shit. Eat a fat one, AOG. Eat a fat one, Retro. You both suck. You're both terrible people. Whoever's involved with the decision making, whoever wrote this comment, you're a terrible person. Nevertheless, we would like to take the opportunity to express our neutral point of view on this quite delicate matter. No, there's no neutral view. There's no neutral view. There's altered and there's not altered. You're grading altered cards. You're partnered with someone that alters cards and submits them to you as part of their service. That's not neutral. That's scam. That's straight up scam. If we notice on the basis of various characteristics that the card has obviously been processed, in quotation marks, which of course already happened, we will send the card back ungraded. Will you though? However, we will not send cards back ungraded just because the submitter has already sent cards for preparation in the past. We will always like to compare the situation with the cleaning or polishing of a car. As long as the card is only cleaned, we see no reason not to grade the card here. He's not cleaning the card. They're polishing the card. They're removing scratches. They're either filling and or polishing to the point that the scratches are no longer there. Regardless, that is alteration. You're adding or removing material or both. Within the context of a legal cleaning, only fine foreign particles or micro scratches can be removed. No, they can't. Scratches cannot be removed. That's part of the card. If there's a dirt and you want to wipe that off with a microfiber cloth, sure. You can't use polish, which in our opinion is completely legitimate. So that seems like you can't have an opinion if you're absolutely objective, but also if you want to be neutral. That's not neutral. That's supporting bad actors in the hobby. Print lines, whitening, or heavier scratches, as well as dirt, on the other hand, remain and can only be removed with the use of aggressive chemical substances, and thus usually only with obvious residue. Bad news for you, any polish that they're using is a chemical technically, regardless of whether that chemical is actually doing anything to the surface and, you know, softening up the clear layer on the card, or if it's just an abrasive and a polish, as in it's going to, you know, leave a wax or something behind. It's all chemical. It doesn't have to be a vat of acid from a Batman movie in order to count as altering a card. That's not how it works. That's not how chemicals work. It's coming from somebody that has a science degree, that has a chemistry degree. I can tell you, any polish that they're using on this stuff is a chemical. If that's the argument, if that's where you're drawing the line, it's a chemical. And that is exactly what is punished accordingly. As already mentioned, it's not punished because they're openly doing it. They're openly submitting this stuff to you. Anyone that buys an AOG slab is an absolute idiot at this point. If you watch this video and you buy something with AOG on the plastic case, you're either trying to pass it off to somebody else because it's probably altered. There's probably a better chance that it's altered than not altered, in my opinion. We can assure 100% that we have kept a very close eye on this from the very beginning. Well, you haven't done anything about it because he's still submitting cards through you and he's still openly altering them before they go there. Among other things, our community appreciates the AOG brand because of this accuracy and the transparency demonstrated from the very beginning. I've already had a couple people reach out to me. You should be extremely upset if you have anything graded by AOG and you were not aware of the fact that they're grading altered cards, because any small amount of value that it added to your cards should be non-existent. I'm not one to add value to a graded card or to like really believe in that extra value that's associated with it. But when you have a company that's knowingly grading altered cards, there's no way anyone should pay a premium on it. It's probably more risky to buy an AOG graded card than it is to just go buy a raw card. That's what it's come down to. Finally, please note that the cooperation with Pokegeodude was established long before the temporary offer of the Geo Smart Fix service. We chose them because of their many years of grading experience and really appreciate these guys as a partner. However, this does not mean that we endorse or even support all of their services. We distanced ourselves from this, and we're all the more pleased that they no longer offer a Geo Smart Fix. Nevertheless, we are aware of the fact that different opinions circulate within the community, and of course we respect them. At the same time, we'd like to thank you for the largely neutral clarification on the topic in general, and hope that we were able to bring light into the darkness with our transparent approach as always. So if you're going to like give a wishy-washy statement about how you're going to accept submissions, whether it's from Pokegeodudes, whether it's from Retro, whether it's from anyone else who used their services, then this is just absolutely meaningless. So here we have the comments that followed it. We have NK Cards, who says, I'm a bit shocked that you officially grade altered cards even though you mention that there's a heavy deduction regarding the grade. As a customer and collector, an essential part of a grade for me is the authenticity guarantee, and altered cards aren't authentic at all. Thereby, I definitely stopped using your service and am a bit ashamed of my cards graded by you. You definitely should be. Sorry, AOG. We have some German here. For anyone that would like to translate that in the comments, please, by all means. So we have the response here. Altered cards are not graded with our services at all, e.g. recoloring and similar. All of the above comment relates to cleaning the cards beforehand that we highly recommend for all cards being stored for a long time and thus being exposed to dust and dirt. No, that's not what you're saying. So what's the difference between recoloring and adding something to the surface of a card to fill in a scratch? The fact that it's colored? If it's transparent, it's fine. Removing part of the card is fine. Cleaning is no alteration of an original product at all in our understanding. Well, you clearly don't understand then, because it's not just cleaning. Nevertheless, we understand your point and will respect your decision the one or the other way. Best PI from AOG. Alright, we have Fabio here who replies to NK, who says, where did they say that they are grading altered cards? AOG is by far the most superior grading service in the world, let alone these scumbag companies like PSA or BGS, and now you're telling me you are ashamed of them because of what? The Pokegeodudes are the biggest grading middleman from Europe. Not anymore, they aren't. It's just a normal thing to work with them, but they have nothing to do with business moves like suddenly presenting that fixed crap product. Then we have NK who replies, and good thing I had the common sense to screenshot the statement made by AOG, because you know they're gonna alter it, you know they're gonna edit. You're gonna hit that edit button as quick as possible as soon as they realize that they said something stupid. So NK replies, AOG adjusted their statement before they wrote, if we notice based on the various characteristics that the card has been obviously been processed, which of course has already happened, we will either punish this with above average strict deductions or even send the card back ungraded. I wrote with them in private chat and they mentioned to me that they only grade cards with the mentioned above average strict deduction where they can't 100% prove that the card is altered, e.g. smudge that could be due to altering but also due to wrong handling. In my opinion, every card that has the slightest indication to be altered shouldn't be graded. I 100% agree. I don't know how you can't tell the difference between somebody that, you know, created damage on a card by altering it or just handling it. It seems like it would be a very different thing. But you know, they're gonna make up their stuff when they're gonna make up their stuff. So let's see if we can make this bigger here for us. All right. So here's the original statement, and you can see they definitely made the edit here. This is pre-edit, just in case anyone wants that for the record. All right, the time to look at the US. Then we'll finish off the video. Here we have the Card Spa, who is altering cards, as we'll see, being supported and protected by a Bowdangers-led Facebook group, all associated with AGS, who also has featured posts within that group. Bonnie, if you'd like to explain, please feel free to reach out. But you know what? I don't know how you do exactly. This is completely unacceptable. I know that you're probably taking, the group is probably taking some money in order to run defense on this stuff. AGS, I'll be in touch shortly to hear what you have to say about it. It's weird that a Facebook group that has guides to avoid scammers is also promoting card alteration and banning or silencing people, deleting comments to those who are criticizing it. It seems like a huge conflict there. It seems very ironic, but let's take a look here. So Dylan's Collectibles on Instagram, and the Card Spa, meanwhile, is probably like, shh, hey, Rattle's not onto us. I was already onto them. But we have this beauty where Dylan's Collectibles, who you should probably also avoid because he's defending this practice, claiming that it's cleaning. It's clearly not cleaning. Anyone that's telling you it's cleaning is full of shit. It's polishing and every other sort. So in this instance with the Card Spa, they're also pressing out dents. They're fixing corners. It's all bad. It's all bad. Not to mention the fact that, I guess worst of all is the fact that they are removing the scratches with a polish and or filler, and that's you got altered cards here. There's a good chance that Dylan's Collectibles has a bunch of altered cards, so stay the hell away. Stay the hell away from anyone that you see featured in this, and stay the hell away from anyone that ends up on the card altering mega list that we're going to have to assemble as a community. Shut it down. We gotta shut it down. So here, first sentence here, I for one love Rattle. So you can tell this is another blowing smoke up my pee hole. You're not even subscribed. You didn't hit the thumbs up, which I guess if you just don't like this, if you disagree with this one video, not even subscribed to the channel, but you love Rattle. I find that hard to believe. I think you are shitting your pants, as you should be, along with the Card Spa. You should both be absolutely diarrhea dumping your shorts, because you're both caught red-handed here with altered stuff. One for altering, one for probably getting your cards altered. So if you didn't see this coming, if you thought it was a quick buck, if you thought it was a good way to make money, you were wrong. You're taking advantage of others. You knew that all along, but you don't want to let on. So he says, but I disagree with this. Just because a card is being cleaned, it is not altered. That's not what they're doing. They're polishing the card. They're removing and or adding material to the card to get rid of the scratches. When I figured out about this one person cleaning cards on IG, and they show an insane amount of proof that what they do is legit and all cards will still submit 0 issue, I was a fan. Just because they submit 0 issue, it doesn't mean it's right. There's a lot of fake cards that get graded too. That's not right. If you're knowingly submitting the card and it's fake, that's a no-no. If you have intentions to sell it to someone afterwards, that's an extra no-no, and that's where I step in. Alright, well, why not? Well, you're about to find out why not. You should not be selling cards to anyone. If you see anyone that is purchasing cards from Dylan's Collectibles, you might want to send them a link to this video. He's legit cleaning old cards, LOL. No, he's definitely not. He's definitely altering them. No, this is not who he is talking about in the video. I understand they might have not been the best at what they do. He's in this video. He might not have been featured in the last one, and had I not been aware of the fact that he was already doing this, this might have led me onto it. But the Card Spa is a beast at cleaning cards and is always showing good work, so if you ever do want a card clean, go through them. Dude, you can barely... I don't know if English is your second language, but I sure as hell hope so. Not these other dweebs. Okay, so the other dweebs, I guess, those are the ones that were featured in the video. Yeah, I don't know why you would do this if you had cards altered by the Card Spa, had I not been aware of the fact that they were there. So here we have the Pokemon Marketplace group here. As you can see there, we got the AGS logo up at the top. We got a partnership with AGS. We got a lot of partnerships going on, a lot of sketchy partnerships, as we'll see. Here we have somebody that was turned off in the comments section because they had criticisms. Apparently there were some very mild ones. Any negative comment you make about the card altering card spa that is part of this group, that has featured posts in this group, they will be removed. Don't you dare say anything bad. Don't you dare question the fact. It's not altering, it's only cleaning. But as we'll see here, our boy Josh is the boy. He's the card spa. Here's a nice little ad they have. So here they cleaned the scratches off, guys. Some more results from the card spa. Suicune had some standout scratches from the forward angle, and after a relaxing day at the spa, her mint status was solidified once again. As you see, these scratches did not entirely come out, and this is sometimes the case depending on severity of the scratches. Before the polish, there you go, guys. All you have to do is see that they polished it. Any point where they're removing scratches, they are altering the card. That's how it works. Again, I know I had to say this many times because people don't listen. There's going to be a few people in the comments. I suggest you avoid that at all costs, because they're probably just purposely playing dumb. Anytime you're polishing a card, you're removing material, or you're filling in the scratches to remove the scratches. That's it. It maybe had a chance at a PSA 9, but most likely a PSA 8. Suicune's chances of grading a 9 or better are far better now. Yeah, well, it's also an altered card, so you better hope that the grading company doesn't catch on to it. This is the point, too, that the grading company should not be sending these cards back out, because they're just going to be sent to another grading company. They're going to be resent to themselves, and that's harmful for everyone. If someone's intentionally doing this, if they submit an entire order full of cards that are altered, if you have Josh using a middleman service, whether it's his own or somebody else's that he's funneling everything through, these orders should immediately be seized. This is wrong on all counts. There's a lot of dollar value, especially when you're in the PSA realm, and they're going to have to pay out on this, whether people find out that it's altered or something goes wrong with the card later on. And at that point, it's probably worth a whole lot more money than the grading fees associated with it at the time. Refer to our pinned post for pricing. Return your cards to mint condition once again, like the day they were pack fresh. All right, so here we go. We got sponsored posts by AGS, and we're gonna have to talk to AGS. I haven't yet. Find out what their thoughts are on this. But Bonnie here is saying, "Hi everyone. I would like to thank you, AGS, for being a partner of our group. Sending off a card to get graded by a human is error-prone, inconsistent, and sometimes biased. AGS is an AI company with fast, transparent, and consistent grading." So as we've seen before, that clearly this is not like an end-all, be-all. This is a better option, because we had we have PSA, we had AGS. They both couldn't detect the fake Argent Dillon, painfully obvious stamps that were painfully fake, because they got somebody or a system that is just quickly scanning things. It turns out, in order to authenticate something, to verify that it isn't altered, yes, they might have the equipment to do so. No, they're not going to spend the time to actually verify. So we've seen many companies where they'll bring something into another room that never gets used, and they'll put the cards in, do some scans, do some fancy stuff. Yeah, they don't do that for every card. It's a 30-second process. They got a minimum wage employee that's going to look at it. They're going to slap a grade on it. The grade is never going to be the same every time. It's a joke. It's all smoke and mirrors. Feel free to ask questions in the comment section. We got some AGS employees, apparently, that are in the group as well, who are taking suggestions. I suggest that they get the hell out of that group if they want to save their own name. And they distance themselves from the card spa and the Pokemon marketplace as much as they possibly can. So guys, typically any discussions, whether it's Burbank or anything like that, there's a lot of sketchy shit that goes on. There's a lot of bad stuff that goes on Facebook. There's a lot of razzle dazzle, mixed wazzles, but also it looks like there's a whole lot of sketchy. Like this sort of thing would not survive in an area that's more knowledgeable, with people that care about their reputation. This wouldn't go on. This would never happen on something like an E4. This would never happen on my Discord. This would never happen anywhere that has any amount of decency, that isn't trying to make a buck off of scamming people. So here we have Josh, who makes a post and says, "Hello, I am Joshua, a founding member of the Card Spa based in Southern California. The Card Spa is a trading card cleaning service specializing in grade prep and restorations to get your cards looking how they did in the 90s and 2000s. We offer the following services." So you know, they really want to push the fact that it's a cleaning. It's only cleaning, guys. It's definitely only cleaning. So let's take a look at their list of things. We got basic cleaning with pre-grading, usually a handmade quick dry spray to remove oils, dirt, black spots, fingerprints, etc. So we got a quick dry spray. So if it's a quick dry spray, it's not water. So already we're getting into chemical territory here, whether it's acetone or, I guess it wouldn't be acetone. It'd be something that wouldn't dissolve the ink. Polishing, using a handmade polish to smooth over light scratches and cleans the card's holographic. Not that, Immediately, bullet point number 2, we're altering a card. Bullet point 1, we're debatably altering a card because we're using some kind of chemical-based cleaner to remove oil, dirt, black spots, fingerprints, etc. Here they use a handmade polish to smooth over light scratches and cleans the card's holographic. This sounds a whole lot like a certain polish that's used by a certain sports company. Our polish is a non-abrasive, so that is completely contradictory. The point of a polish is the fact that it is abrasive. It has to be abrasive to some degree or it doesn't polish. It's not a polish at that point. Choose one. And that's why cards treated with our polish can still be graded. No, they can still be graded because the grading companies are a fucking joke. Edge and corner flattening. Using our technique and tools, we can flatten raised corners and edges. Disclaimer, our polish cannot conceal a deep scratch while it is damage to the card foiling. We cannot fix the following: whitening, silvering, creases, dents, or print lines. Weird, because you definitely do fix those as well. I guess maybe at this point in time, on July 31st, you decided you weren't going to, but you definitely have done some of that as well. Each finished card is placed into a brand new card saver and team bag. How nice of you. Ready to be graded if you wish. We charge $15 per card, free of charge. We structure your submission for grading to give your cards the best chance they have at grading high. Message me for a quote and book your cards on an appointment. We have plenty of references. Great. I'd love to know what those references are because those should be also logged. Message me for a quote and book your cards on an appointment. All right. References on our Instagram page if needed. Good to know. Just request the link from me and I'll send it to you promptly. Below are some before and after shots of our work. Thank you for your consideration. Very nice. Here we have Derek Peterson who says, LOL, it's my card. So if you're buying a Gengar EX, make sure it's not from Derek here. It's altered. Congratulations on outing yourself for getting your card altered and being the owner of it. Alright, here we go. So we weren't getting rid of dents and dings and dogs, but now we're going to mention the fact that corner work is a staple at the card spa. We flatten out those unsightly corner lifts to give them that mint look once again. Flygon also got a much needed day off at the spa. EX cards are all the rave and Flygon is ready for a spotlight once again. So like you reworded into cleaning and doing this stupid spa gimmick when in reality you're effing people in the B completely here. You're altering cards. It is so difficult these days to find a near mint EX card as they are prone to being scratched. But the card spa can help you out by altering, easing away the scratches on your lightly played silver bordered EX. Refer to our pinned post with more information and pricing. Alright, so we got like the before and after here. We got the corner pressing. Very cute. We got the Flygon, we got the scratches. I'm not sure how well these show up, but there's scratches. There's no apparent scratches. Here, Chris, you probably don't want to mention this on a public platform where you say, got some I'd like y'all to clean up before grading for sure. I'll be in touch. So if you notice any of the cards here from our boy Chris, if you got some EXs, and you're buying them, make sure they're not from Chris because they are probably altered at this point. Sweet. Alright. So here we have Eric who is saying something sensible and says, I don't know man, is altering a card hard pass? The residue can be seen with a microscope that most companies are starting to implement. Best of luck to anyone wasting money on this. And we have Ian who linked my video. Thank you very much for that, Ian. And we have Eric who says, yep, handful of dummies playing the game to make a few dollars on cardboard. I've got everything screenshotted, and most users of these services will be permanently flagged. It's kind of what it comes down to. If you're going to scam people, if you're going to alter stuff, then that's what it comes down to. Alright, so we have a reply to the polish will be detected during the grading process and likely have the card rejected due to tampering. Where Josh, the card spa master here, says you can see for yourself there's no difference in the photos besides the scratches being diminished. Our clients have graded many cards that were polished by us with CGC and PSA. Not a great statement here. I mean, there's no real way to avoid it. As soon as you're removing scratches, it doesn't matter on the process. If you're removing scratches or hiding scratches, you're altering the card. Joshua. Here's an old post where we cracked a PSA 7, polished and regraded to get a PSA 8. As you know, PSA 7 is effectively light play to very light play. So, although this is only a 1 grade point improvement, it is substantial that a grader considered it to be in the mint range now. I don't think that's what the argument was. So, I guess to finish off here, we got we got the Pokemon Marketplace info. We got it's funny here. We got lots of rules in place. None of the rules say no altering cards. We got scammers / victims of scamming that their mod team is fighting to remove scammers on a daily basis. And they're also seemingly trying to silence the people that are criticizing the card alteration service that you're promoting, which is pretty funny. No fakes. Altered cards? A-okay. No fakes though, guys. Absolutely no fakes. We're going to take a look at the admin list just in case you guys want a closer look at that. Oh, wait. Who is that? Is that the Pokegeodude? Not the same Pokegeodude from the fake case. Couldn't be, right? Couldn't be the same Pokegeodude from the fake case. But he wasn't in on the fake case. And then also the same Pokegeodude that our boy, Cool Trainer Ryan, sold light packs to, which he then razzled off as unweighed. Not that same Pokegeodude. Not that same Pokegeodude that would do absolutely anything, including promoting dirty, sketchy card alteration services in order to make money, to make a buck off of you. That's pretty much it, guys, for this week. Again, keep your eyes out. Let me know if you see anything. Take care of each other out there, and let's shut this down before it gets any worse. Have a good night.